23rd Annual Academy Awards took place on March 29th, 1951 at the Pantages Theater. Who has a star right in front of the Pantages Theater, right at the entrance?
Not me.
Oh, gosh, I don't know. John Wayne.
Barry Manilow. Right there in the front.
Like
center.
One of the two
Yeah.
of the duo.
Either
the
John
whole
Wayne
duo.
or Barry Manilow. Okay. This ceremony was hosted by Fred Astaire. It's notable because All About Eve got the most nominations that year at 14. The previous record holder was Gone with the Wind.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Best Motion Picture.
And nobody would match that. No one would match that nomination record, at least, until Titanic in '96.
Mm.
Okay, Best Motion Picture went to All About Eve. Other nominees. Wow. See, this is the first time. Okay. Other nominees: Born Yesterday, Father of the Bride, King Solomon's Mines, and Sunset Boulevard. Okay. Three of these
King
are not
Solomon's
like the
Mines must be the one that just absolutely nobody watches now. But yeah, I mean, I like All About Eve quite a bit. You know, I like the sort of bitchiness of it, and it certainly is bitchy, and it's got great dialogue in it. But to me, clearly, Sunset Boulevard is the is the best movie of the year. I mean,
I would give you that. I would give you that, but I would even one up you, and I would give it to The Third Man.
Yeah,
I mean, The Third Man is really technically from '49, so.
Oh, okay.
You know,
it's one of those things.
It actually. Anything that came from back then, anything that came from a foreign country, whether it be UK or any other country, it usually took about a year or sometimes 2 or 3 years for it to hit American shores, because distributors or exhibitors just weren't into playing foreign films. I mean, the art house explosion hadn't really happened yet. So
right.
At most, they might get a play in New York and L.A. or something like that. But
this is the year that The Third Man was in the running at the Oscars, and it was in the running.
This
I mean,
is
it
true.
won cinematographer. It was nominated for director.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, All About Eve still has a lot of prestige today, but Sunset Boulevard kind of transcends it.
Mhm. I mean, I agree. I agree with that. I mean, let me put it like this: it's not like oh God, how could they give it to All About Eve? But Sunset Boulevard is the one, of what's nominated. If I was going to pick, I would pick Sunset Boulevard. I mean, that's just me. I think that movie is not. I don't think that movie's dated at all.
No. Mm-mm. It's still exciting and weird and funny, and it's very funny, and like darkly funny, and and pretty intense, Plus, as far as performances go, I mean, you have William Holden. I would have given him Best Actor. I would have given Gloria Swanson Best Actress. I would have given Eric von Stroheim for Best Supporting Actor for playing the butler. So, I mean, it's in fact, on Filmicability, which is filmicability.blogspot.com, I'm going through every year from 1925. So now I'm in the middle of the 50s. I'm about to post 1957, but so I go through and I pick, the best of every category. And in my estimation, Sunset Boulevard should have gotten probably 9 or 10 Oscars. I mean, because of the music, the sets, the photography, the screenplay, the editing, the sound, all of that stuff is just superb.
You would have given it to that over something like Rashomon? Because that was the same year, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Rashomon comes close in my estimation. I mean, I really my second favorite movie of that year is Joseph Lewis's Gun Crazy, which I think is one of the great noir movies, and, also huge influence on Bonnie and Clyde, of course. But Winchester 73 from Anthony Mann, Asphalt Jungle. In a Lonely Place.
I was going to ask you guys about Asphalt Jungle. I mean, this is a John Huston film, and I saw this actually the first time I saw the Asphalt Jungle was on a double bill with Out of the Past. I'd gone to see that because I'd always wanted to see Out of the Past on the big screen. I saw it at the New Beverly, I guess, in 2003, and the Asphalt Jungle was the other film, and just both of those films, watching them back to back. I mean, that's very magical, but
yeah.
I mean, the Asphalt Jungle, though, I mean, we can't rule that out. I mean, even by maybe today's standards, you would rule it out, but I couldn't rule that out. That's a very good movie.
There's Laurent from Max Ophuls, Los Olvidados from Luis Buñuel. Not a huge amount of foreign product this year, but and then noir is just hitting it out of the ballpark with Night in the City and Where the Sidewalk Ends, Panic in the Street. So and lots of great westerns like The Gunfighter and Rio Grande and so forth. So but Born Yesterday, blah. I mean, it's okay. I like Judy Holliday, but I don't really like the movie.
That remake was so much better.
Who was in the remake?
Melanie Griffith. Yeah.
Melanie Griffith and Don Johnson?
Yep.
Right.
Wow, way after. Weren't they married at one point?
They were. No, that was. Yeah, they were. This is when they were. I mean, this is after. I think this is second. This is the rebound phase. But I guess this is where they give us Dakota Johnson. So.
I remember when they had their movie out, Paradise, and it was like 50 times a day, which I think we only sold 50 tickets a day for that movie. People would come up and say, 2 tickets for Paradise, please.
Oh, my God.
Because of that rock song.
Yeah. Eddie Money.
Okay. 24th Annual Academy Awards. This took place on March 20th, 52, honoring the films of 1951. Once again at the Pantages Theater, Danny Kaye was the host. That year, Best Motion Picture was awarded to An American in Paris. It was up against Decision Before Dawn, A Place in the Sun. What is this, Dean? The Sam Zimbalist movie from MGM.
Quo Vadis.
Quo Vadis.
And A Streetcar Named Desire. Oh, Jesus, A Streetcar Named Desire.
Yeah.
The African Queen was that year, too.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta, this is just, how do I say, I don't know, it's like a tough call, because for me, it's really between A Place in the Sun and A Streetcar Named Desire. That's not to rule out Quo Vadis, which I think is one of the best of the, what would you call these? The Sword and Sandal movies, the epic that I would, and it's a beautiful, it's one of Nicholas Rose's best soundtracks.
Yes, I agree.
I mean, really, but this is, to me, this is between Clip and Brando. If you really want to go, to me it is. I'm not, and they're not making light of An American in Paris. It's a great movie too, but for me,
it is. It's quite. Yeah.
It's an awesome.
And we've talked to the female star of that.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
That's right. Yeah, Leslie Caron.
But out of the 5 pictures here nominated, with the benefit of 60 years hindsight, you have to say Streetcar, right? In terms of
absolutely
lasting.
I'm not going to argue with that. But I'd have to put Place in the Sun does deserve to be. Obviously for director,
it's the second best of what's nominated, I think.
Yeah.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but again, to go, Streetcar Named Desire is it. Again, another year where I would give the majority of the acting awards to its stars. Brando, Vivian Leigh, and Kim Hunter, and Carl Malden comes very close to making it like a total home run for them. But
right.
I picked Peter Ustinov for playing.
Hang on. Let me tell you that.
Yeah.
Let me bring up this to the audience. So all the acting categories, actually, Streetcar won all the acting categories. Carl Malden, Kim Hunter, and Vivian Leigh. Brando was the only one that did not win for Best Actor.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I know a large part of that is because, the African Queen and Bogart. It was such
right.
people loved him in that movie and wanted to honor him. But this was one of the key performances, Streetcar and On the Waterfront, where Brando changed the form.
Right.
Streetcar is
and that might have been the reason that they didn't give it to him for this award, because maybe they thought he was going to be a flash in the pan, or maybe people thought he mumbled too much or something.
Now, what Dean says is very true. A lot of people throughout they did think he mumbled. That's a good point, but I can't.
Especially the old school actors. I've seen interviews with Cary Grant in the past where he absolutely loathed the new crop of Brando-esque actors. Like, you can't. And I can understand why Cary Grant opposed it, because you just see the school that Cary Grant came from, the school of acting that he came from, and it's entirely different from what Brando was reaching for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I am glad that they finally gave Humphrey Bogart the award, although I think he deserved it for years earlier for numerous movies, but arguably I think his best performance is in Treasure of Sierra Madre in 48.
Yeah.
So I think, but they, it was his time to win, and so that's what happened there. I think, again, there's always, tons of great movies that aren't nominated or are almost not nominated for anything. But this year you had Strangers on the Train, Alfred Hitchcock. You had Billy Wilder's Ace in the Hole. You had Michael Powell's Tales of Hoffman, which is probably the most psychedelic musical of the period. Even as fancy as American in Paris is, it doesn't hold a candle to Tales of Hoffman. From other countries, Lavender Hill Mob from the UK, Diary of the Country Priest.
That was
yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, it still holds up. And
oh God, yeah, all those movies do.
Big time. And Day the Earth Stood Still, and On Dangerous Ground from Nicholas Ray. So I thought that was the Seagal movie. Go ahead. He did a movie called On
Deadly
with Michael
Deadly
Caine.
Ground.
On Deadly Ground, right? Yeah. But it's a good year. There's tons of interesting movies.
There is a good movie nominated though throughout this year, William Wyler's Detective Story.
I like that movie too.
I think that's a really well done movie. It still holds up very well. Did that win anything, Dean? Did that win anything that year? Did it go home?
They didn't win anything.
Okay.
It was nominated for a few things, but not very many things though. I think Lee Grant got a supporting actor.
Isn't it something though? You look at just this year alone, and you see how many films came from plays. We had Streetcar, we had Place in the Sun, we had Death of a Salesman.
Mm-hmm.
They were constantly calling upon dramatic playwrights to source, their films, which is we don't have any original playwrights really anymore. So,
well, certainly certainly Hollywood is not utilizing plays as as fodder very much anymore. You'll be lucky if you get one major play adaptation a year.
There doesn't seem to be because there's a whole. I know there are people that still write plays. I'm not saying that it's completely dead, but there doesn't seem to be the romanticism attached to being a playwright. Everybody just wants to go right to writing for movies.
Right. Well, that's very true. I can't disagree with that.
Or it would be a stepping stone for writing for. I don't even know that it serves as that anymore because nobody pays attention to original dramatic work on the stage. It's barely there,
and people barely go to it.
Yeah, I mean, when I think of plays, I think of like someone like Neil LaJude or something, or Eric Bogosian when I think of plays in this day and age. So, like, that's what I think of. And
even their day is past. I mean, pretty much.
Especially Bogosian. I mean,
I do believe that Mamet's day is past, but I'm still, I'm excited that he actually has an original play that's going to premiere in the next month with Pacino. Like he just wrote it. It's never been put on.
He's actually been
exciting.
He's actually been relatively busy. Didn't he do a play a couple of years ago with
called Race
with Deborah Winger?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know what the thing with Deborah Winger. I know that he did one called Race with James Spader and Kerry Washington was in that production.
That's right. So I mean, he has been active, and he's probably, I don't think his day is quite past yet.
If he wasn't Mamet, like if he wasn't established as a brand name, there's no way that he could get that thing on Broadway.
Nope.
No, you're right. I mean,
that's absolutely right. Well, he's a superstar when it comes to that.
Superstar. Okay. 25th Annual Academy Awards. We're going March 19th, 1953, also at the Pantages. Bob Hope hosted. And it was, I don't understand this, but apparently it was a dual kind of broadcast because they're broadcasting from the Pantages in Hollywood and the NBC International Theater in New York City. So they had Frederick March hosted from New York City and Bob Hope from Hollywood, and I guess they awarded people in both locations. Okay. And
probably wasn't a very successful experiment on that part because I don't think it's ever been done since.
It was the first Academy Awards ceremony to be televised.
So they were just feeling things out there.
Best Motion Picture, Greatest Show on Earth is the film that won. And it won against, especially when you hear, two of these other nominations.
Yeah.
It was up against High Noon. Who remembers that one? Ivanhoe, Moulin Rouge, The Quiet Man.
Yeah. So definitely The Quiet Man and High Noon out of the nominees.
I gotta be honest. I don't think they. I mean, this is where we get into trouble with This'll Be the Mill because I know he was a great visionary and everything, but a lot of some of this stuff just doesn't hold up well. And I don't. The Greatest Show on Earth, a movie about the circus. I don't know. I mean, can I be honest? I don't care.
It was a career award, They had never given him an Oscar, and he'd been working since the 20s as a kind of a showman of of movies. So I don't defend it.
He didn't deserve that film didn't deserve to win, but it was a year when they really spread the wealth. Because they pretty much have for all the major categories, they have a different winner in each category, a different film represented for each win.
Right.
For me, I mean, could they have nominated Singin' in the Rain for Best Picture, or did they have a separate musical category?
No, Singin' in the Rain is probably the most loved American movie out of this year that didn't get a nomination. It wasn't a big hit when it came out.
That movie is pure joy, man.
It is.
I would take that any day over the Greatest Show on Earth, like another DeMille.
I would take my getting punched in the face over the Greatest Show. All right, never mind. But
yeah, no way. I mean, I'd rather get punched in the face than watch it. Yes, for sure. At least I've learned something from getting punched in the face.
No. There's a great show.
Well, come on over here, dude.
great film. There is a film there are two films I like a lot this year. Well, actually three. I mean, that are in the actor category: The Lavender Hill Mob, The Bad and the Beautiful. I love that movie, and I love Viva Zapata.
Great.
I mean, I love Viva Zapata. I love that movie. Don't get me wrong, I love The Quiet Man too. I mean, I'm not making light of The Quiet Man or High Noon. I'm just saying that there are other really, if you look through and there's another one in the screenplay, The Man in the White Suit is another great movie.
Which is really, again, another movie that came technically the year before. But
right.
But just to let people know. But Quiet Man actually won Best Director for John Ford and a few other, I think it won cinematography and so forth. But I mean, High Noon to me is probably the best out of the nominees. But for me, the best movie of that year is Akira Kurosawa's Ikiru.
Oh my God! I mean,
Ikiru, and then De Sica's Umberto D, which are very similar kind of movies, but and High Noon too. It's kind of a weird year because it feels like a kind of an end of an era, kind of.
Right.
And it's sort of symbolized by those three movies that are about ends of eras and about aging and looking at the past, and even Singing in the Rain is also a movie about looking at the past because it's about silent movies. But Bad and the Beautiful is great. You're right, and Bend of the River, Anthony Mann, and James Stewart, and not a great year.
Bad and the Beautiful is the film that won the most awards that night.
Yeah, it won a lot of technical awards like
right.
black and white cinematography and sets and art, sets and costumes. So.
Premiere Magazine placed Greatest Show on Earth on its list of the 10 worst Oscar winners. Empire rated it the number 3 on their list of the 10 worst Oscar winners.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. It's funny. The 50s, is really a decade that I think rivals the 70s in terms of quality. I mean, it is just an avalanche of movies almost every year, and certainly when it gets deeper into the 50s, it just becomes overwhelming how great movies are. But that is very rarely reflected in what's nominated for the Oscars. I mean. The Oscars were at a kind of a worse point then than maybe they are even now. So
you really believe that? I mean, I'm just looking at choices for the next year, and I've got to say, this year I would even welcome Ex Machina as a nominee this year. Okay. And I know as a movie I was disappointed in, but I still at least would give it an A for effort. You know what I mean? Because I've seen, I'm trying to see a lot of these like Oscar contenders, and I keep going back. Maybe the movie about the sexy crazed techno guy is probably better than a lot of these.
I thought that was an overrated movie, but
the rest of this fall actually looks like it could bring about a lot of Oscar bait. I mean, it seems like there's a lot out there.
I saw 2 this weekend that are Oscar bait. I mean,
yeah,
but you got to think that talk about establishment. I mean, especially in the 1950s, you have to have a lot of stodginess in the Academy, you would think, right?
Yeah, I mean, and a lot of cronyism. There was a lot of nominating the same people over and over again, particularly in the technical categories, but but also in the higher end ones as well. That's why some things like Ivanhoe get in and stuff like that, because the producer had a lot of friends, and plus there was a lot of bald-faced just bribery almost. Like if a producer could throw the hottest parties, his movie got an Oscar nomination. And
I'm sure Guy Ritchie wish he had friends like that.
Yeah, and sending out gifts and just being very bald-faced about the even more so than now, because at least nowadays it's couched in kind of a sense of like the competition is couched in kind of sense of a going out and promoting and so forth. It's promotion almost. But
can I ask you guys a question?
Yeah.
Did you have that back then?
I wasn't alive then.
Well, I know.
I'm not sure.
Now, thank you. I know.
I'm not sure about the. I'm not sure about the state of what. I don't know what the state of entertainment reportage was back then.
Right.
So I can't really say. I know there were movie magazines and so forth. Like things.
Right.
Lots of them. But I really don't know.
Well,
and certainly there wasn't.
Gossip rags were big then. And people think all the old days would, and I'm finding this out putting together this Black Dahlia episode. People think, the old days when journalism meant something. Actually, mainstream journalism was really gossipy.
Yeah.
It was. All right, 53.
Oh, okay.
Oh, this is tough.
26th Annual Academy Awards, 1954, March 25th is when it took place at the Pantages in New York City again. Donald O'Connor hosted in L.A. From Here to Eternity got the most nominations. It won the most awards, including Best Picture. It was up against Julius Caesar, and to see the epic mumbler Marlon Brando perform Shakespeare.
I like
that
movie too.
Yeah, not a bad movie.
The Robe, Roman Holiday, and Shane.
I like From Here to Eternity. I know that might get a lot of groans but I read the book before I saw the movie, and I like both. I think it's a very good movie, but I love Shane. I love Shane a lot. But
I think Shane's the best out of the nominees.
You're not gonna. I can't argue with that. But I don't think From Here to Eternity is a bad movie. I think it actually holds up very well.
No, it's good, and it really does have really good performances in it, and particularly Frank Sinatra. Yeah.
Oh, I know Frank Sinatra's wonderful in that.
Yeah.
But if we look at, there's another movie, Billy Wilder's Stalag 17, which is just out of this world incredible. I actually like that better than those two movies. Depending what kind of mood I'm in. But that's a good. I don't know. And you also have Pick Up on South Street this year too, and that's a good movie. I like that.
I like that movie. I like that too. To me, it's not a big year for U.S. movies. For me, the best U.S. movie that year was Anthony Mann's The Naked Spur, which I really struggled with because I really wanted to give Anthony Mann a Best Picture, but unfortunately Tokyo Story from Ozu came out that year, and so I had to choose that over just for that's a remarkable movie. But
it is. Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, mostly the most interesting stuff came from overseas. Max Ophuls' Earrings of Madame De, Federico Fellini's Eva Violini.
That's a great movie. I love that movie. Oh my God.
Yeah, Gate of Hell from Japan and Tati's Monsieur Hulot's Holiday.
Oh God, yeah.
And Ingmar Bergman's Summer with Monica, and got Roberto Rossellini and Mitsuguchi and so forth, and Wages of Fear from Clouseau. So really, it's again kind of a overwhelming invasion from other countries.
There is though. I'm just looking. I'm just looking through some of the technical awards.
Mm-hmm.
And the original War of the Worlds got Best Sound Recording.
Yeah.
And
special effects.
That movie holds up very well today.
Yeah, I like a lot of those. Like I Came from Outer Space and House of Wax and also it's the first year of Stanley Kubrick with Fear and Desire. So
that's right.
So there's still a lot of great noir stuff being made, like Pick Up on South Street or Ida Lupino's The Hitchhiker and The Bigamist too by her, and Fritz Lang's Blue Gardenia and so forth.
That's a good one.
But generally, it's a yeah.
Can I ask a question? What do we think of the Robe?
I love it. I mean, I think it's. I'd love to see it on the big screen because I think that's the way to see it. It's obviously.
I think that's one of the most beautiful films, beautiful looking films about that period. I've always the first time I watched that, I was just blown away. I mean, it was just. I'm with you. If that was showing on a big screen, I'd go out. I'd rush out to see it because it's such
a great score from Alfred Newman.
Oh,
and
the score is incredible. But I mean, I think that's one of. I love Richard Burton in that movie. I think he's great. I mean, he's wonderful in that.
Yeah, and it is a really beautiful looking movie. And also, just to let everybody know, in case they didn't know this, the first CinemaScope movie, the first widescreen movie.
No.
Because
I want to ask another question. Is that the first? I heard this many years ago in Turner, and I don't know, and it could be just a blur of my memory, but isn't that the first movie where we see Christ's face?
You know what? I'm not sure about that.
Okay, I remember many decades ago, not years, but decades ago, that before watching it, that was when it was one of the things that it was remembered for. It was the first time that a major Hollywood movie showed his face. The whole. So it's a fascinating movie. I just love that movie.
Yeah, it is. It's really interesting musicals this year. One last thing is, Vincent Minnelli's The Bandwagon and the 3D musical Kiss Me Kate with Bob Fosse in it, and the absolutely insane 5,000 Fingers of Dr. T, the adaptation of the Dr. Seuss movie or the Dr. Seuss story. So yeah, I mean it's a nutty year.
Let me ask you this: If Ed Wood were still alive today, would you be opposed to a campaign for him to get an honorary Oscar?
No, not at all.
No.
He deserves it.
He deserves it, I think. I think that there's just something to be said for, the joy of watching movies like that. And even if it was all a mistake and done not by design, there's still something to be said about sticking to your guns like he did.
Yeah.
And just the joy of making movies. I mean, for him,
right? No,
infectious about him.
Well, I think if anything, that may be Johnny Depp's crowning achievement. I really do.
I think so too. And Tim Burton.
That scene where he's in the office, a horrible office that's just like basement dungeon office of the producer, explains to him what he's going to do with. I mean, if that doesn't tell you what a movie lover is, I don't know what does. I mean,
it's great. That's a great scene. It's a great, highly stylized performance.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 27th Annual Academy Awards, honoring the films of 1954. Pantages in New York again. Bob Hope, the host. Best
once again
Picture. Most nominations, most awards, both went to On the Waterfront. Best Picture was On the Waterfront. The competition was The Cane Mutiny, The Country Girl, Seven Brides for Seven Brothers, and Three Coins in a Fountain.
I can't argue.
Which I've never seen Three Coins in a Fountain. I mean, I have to tell you, I have not seen that movie, but I don't think I'm missing very much.
Okay, I'll tell you right off the bat. In terms of American dramas, I mean, On the Waterfront looms large. I don't have a problem with that winning, but I will say I do think it's a travesty that one of Hitchcock's best, Rear Window, is not in this in these five nominees.
I'll give you that. I'll give you.
It should have been the winner. It should have been the winner. I think it's it's an arguable point. I mean, again, Seven Samurai came out this year, although it didn't hit.
No, it didn't.
It didn't hit Shores, American Shores.
Can I ask you a question, Dean? I have all from for I guess the last 25 years since I've seen On the Waterfront, I've always thought of it as one of the great American films. Am I wrong in thinking that? I mean,
no, it's great. It is a great movie. I think if you the only problem I have with it, I guess, is the inspiration of the movie being kind of the fact that it's a kind of an allegory about naming names
right.
at the House Un-American activities meetings where they were trying to oust supposed communists from Hollywood. And Kazan was somebody who did name names famously.
No, that is the problem. You're right.
And so the movie is kind of a defense of that, and if you can try and forget that, it improves the movie greatly.
You ruined that now. You ruined that.
Well, I do think that history. I think the movie's just known for its acting, and it was known for its acting back then too. If you look at the supporting actor category, 3 of the 5 nominees were from Waterfront,
which is extraordinary.
If Kazan has one aspect of his legacy that looms largest, it's probably what he did for the craft of acting.
I think so.
Of how he allowed it to evolve and take center stage.
Scorsese says that On the Waterfront is the first movie that he ever saw that actually took place in a world that he recognized.
Yeah.
And that's largely because it's one of the first movies that actually was shot on location on the docks of New York. So
right.
There's a great story that, if you think about the greatest Marlon Brando impressions, I think that one person who does it the best is Matthew Broderick. And so I saw this conversation between Broderick and Alec Baldwin, and they were sharing Marlon Brando stories. And Matthew Broderick said that they were working together on The Freshman, and Brando was talking about a scene that he was doing and he says, there's a scene in the back of a car, and I was talking to my brother and in the scene, and I just couldn't get it right. I just never felt like I got that right. And he was and Broderick was like, well, what movie was that? And he said, it was on the waterfront. And have you heard of that? And he was like, yeah, Marlon. he said, Marlon, it turned out okay. You should really give it another look. It was pretty bad with it.
Yeah, I would have given him Best Actor for On the Waterfront as well, and also Eva Marie Saint, Best Supporting Actress for it.
Which so they got those right.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I love the photography in it too, and it won for that. And a lot of people, I think one of its major minuses for me, I know a lot of people love that Leonard Bernstein score, but I think it's really overdone and bombastic.
Obtrusive,
and
yeah.
And I mean, but I do recognize that it's a landmark score. So, but still, in all, I mean, Rear Window for me is far away the best. I mean, I would have given that, cinematography and director and screenplay and certainly, I love Thelma Ritter and of course James Stewart in it, and so I don't know.
Rear Window is it is pure cinema. I mean, you could say that about Hitchcock's entire oeuvre, but Rear Window just epitomizes that. I mean, it's kind of like the poster child for a perfect approach, for him.
And I also kind of like it too because this gets a little weird here, but I think it's a criticism of of television watching, and I think that makes it kind of an interesting. It's an interesting critique on that.
That's a good point. That's a great point. Yeah. It's a wonderful point.
It's like in this age where the movies were afraid of what television was doing to their industry. Here's Hitchcock offering his commentary on it, in a very sly kind of way. and you really need to sit there and think about it in order to.
I mean, was this around the same period of time that Hitchcock was actually making his own mark on television, or was this just a little bit after that?
A little bit. You know what? I'm not sure when that show started. So, but it's definitely in the ballpark. And I also remember too, he did Dial In for Murder this year too.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, he had two great films.
He wasn't slacking.
Not a slacker.
Anyway, okay. Well, yeah, on the waterfront. Now, also notable this year, Dorothy Dandridge was up for Best Actress for Carmen Jones.
Right.
An award that went to Grace Kelly.
Mm-hmm. For a movie, The Country Girl, which is not a great movie. I mean, I wouldn't even, put it in the top 40 or whatever. I don't know how it got a Best Picture nomination.
Jerry Lewis hosted the following year in L.A., and Joseph Mankiewicz hosted in New York. The 28th Annual Academy Award, celebrating the films of 1955. 1955's Best Picture winner was, of course, Marty.
Mm-hmm.
Ernest Borgnine also won Best Actor for that. It is a beautiful performance.
And a really good movie. I mean, I mean,
yeah, I think so too.
The number of movies that are better than it, even with that in mind, Marty is still, it's hard to kick a sweet little puppy dog kind of a movie like Marty.
No, it is hard to kick, but there are better movies that year. But I agree with you. It is hard to kick that.
Other nominees in the Best Picture category: Love Is a Many Splendored Thing, Mr. Roberts, Picnic, The Rose Tattoo.
Yeah, out of all of those,
East of Eden not nominated, even though it was nominated for director. And
but I would have picked East of Eden that year, maybe. And I love what's nominated. I would have gone with Mr. Roberts. That's just me. But I would, if East of Eden was nominated, I would have given it to that. I love Picnic too, by the way. Don't get me wrong.
I think out of what was nominated, I think I probably would have gone with Marty. I've never seen Love Is a Many Splendored Thing.
It's not a many splendored thing. It's not. It's just
and what were the other nominees?
Many splintered thing.
Mr. Roberts.
Picnic and The Rose Tattoo.
Picnic. Rose Tattoo is kind of an interesting movie too. I mean, it's kind of
here's something
a beautiful
interesting
movie to look at.
If we look through the prism of history and what we know now has survived, I mean, Marty's still beloved. But in the East of Eden, that plays on a regular basis. People have fond feelings for that film.
Mm-hmm.
But probably the most popular film that I see from that year that survived is something like Rebel Without a Cause. Is that aided by James Dean's death? I mean, if James Dean hadn't died, would we still feel that way about Rebel Without a Cause?
That's an interesting question, and a very difficult question to really very difficult to answer. I think Rebel Without a Cause still stands as a great movie, a great sort of document of teenage life in that year, that time, and kind of one of the first movies about teenagers. Because the whole idea of teenagers really didn't exist until the 50s anyway. What we think of teenagers as now, because usually they were off going to work or whatever, like as soon as even before they get out of school. So it's like this whole idea of teenagers getting into gangs or getting into trouble and stuff like that. And as sort of rebellious group, that didn't really exist. So Rebel Without a Cause is important.
Okay, here's what I would choose for my favorite film of that year, though. Like out of all of these, this is probably top 15 movies of all time, personally for me, and that's Night of the Hunter. This is 1955, right?
Oh well, yeah. No, I mean,
and that's yeah.
Come on.
I mean, that's the best movie of the year.
Yeah, no, I have to agree with you.
Yeah.
I think then if we're using that as the litmus test, I mean everything everything falls away by the wayside there. Then
it does.
The only other movie that I could East of Eden is the only other movie I could put up there.
Is it Night of the Hunter the complete antithesis of Marty?
Yes.
I mean, about the only thing that they have in common is they're about poor people, but and they're in black and white. So that's about it.
I mean, Night of the Hunter is. I mean, is that anywhere? Was that even nominated for anything?
No, I mean that was a notorious critical and box office disappointment.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean.
If you nominate it for nothing else, it's not even nominated for cinematography, man.
That bugs me. That
it is.
Bugs me. But I read a great book about the making of that movie. 12 years ago, and I don't remember the name of it, but it was such a fascinating book. And it's such a good movie. I mean the
screenplay, the James Agee screenplay,
you're dealing with a preacher that's trying to kill two kids. I mean, that's kind of like napalm, a moral napalm.
Yeah, I don't think that the audiences of the 50s were absolutely in any way ready for this movie.
No, they weren't. But I hand it to Charles Lawton. You've got to hand it to him for making such an awesome movie. I mean,
Okay, here's another question for you. And then Dean, I'll let you go through other titles. But James Dean, he was nominated for Best Actor for East of Eden. Do you think that was a better nomination for him than Rebel Without a Cause? He wasn't nominated for Rebel, but
I do. Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Although I think he's great in Rebel Without a Cause, and if the rules permitted it, I would have said, well, nominate him twice for,
Yeah, I gotta say something. I like him in Rebel Without a Cause. I think of the three performances we have, I think East of Eden is the best. And
yeah,
I love his
he was killed by this time, wasn't he? He was dead by this time.
Yeah.
When the Academy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it wasn't one of those sympathy wins. Because
they didn't. Right.
Yeah.
Ernest Borgnine was mainly a supporting actor to this point. So
but look at this. Look at this, man. These are the nominees for Best Actor. Ernest Borgnine, who won. And actually, if you went by just the notion of which one would win, not even knowing the work, Ernest Borgnine would be in last place. You'd be like, Ernest Borgnine over these guys? Because he was up against James Cagney, James Dean, Frank Sinatra for Man with the Golden Arm, and Spencer Tracy. That was his category. What a mammoth
I know.
competition.
I know, it's this period of movies is just even the lesser movies are like head and shoulders above a lot of stuff that's out now. But
I'll agree with you, Dean, 100%, 120% over that with that statement.
Yeah, I mean it's like not even anybody who comes up to you and says movies are just better now than they were then or whatever. Just say you don't know what you're talking about. Sorry.
Can I say something that I hope this stays on this show? In movies that even I said I liked a lot, that I put on my top 10 list, I'll go back and watch, maybe a year or two later, they don't hold up well.
Yeah.
They just don't hold up well.
The only people that really say that are people that haven't seen an older movie.
Right.
It's really hard, though. I mean, you watch them. I mean, we've seen, there's some movies I've seen this year that I really like, but I won't lie to you, I'm going to be struggling to find 10 movies that I really like this year.
I haven't even gotten up to 20. this year. It's like, and I've seen 115 movies this year from this year.
Yeah.
And I can't even get a top 20 yet. So
I'm like wondering if I should send if I can get a refund for some of them even. I mean.
Nightmare on Elm Street 3 is not making my list.
God damn you, DeVal.
Other movies from this year. My second favorite movie of the year was Kiss Me Deadly, the great noir movie with Ralph Meeker.
Oh my God, that's such a
great movie.
Oh my
great
God.
movie. Again, another movie that was just way ahead of its time that people were not ready for. As far as American movies, there's Douglas Sirk's All That Heaven Allows.
Ooh, good movie.
Of course, Rebel Without a Cause. The Big Combo, again from Joseph H. Lewis, another classic noir movie with incredible photography. On Filmicability, I couldn't figure out what was the better photography, from Big Combo, John Alton's work on The Big Combo, or Stanley Cortez's work on Night of the Hunter, so I had to resort to a rare tie, because there's no way I could choose between those two. But again, Anthony Mann with great work with James Stewart on The Man from Laramie, Lady and the Tramp from Disney, Phoenix City Story from Phil Carson, and I like Guys and Dolls, another Marlon Brando performance where he sings, and The Desperate Hours, the William Wyler movie with Bogart and Frederick March, I think is very, very exciting. Is that
Bogey's last movie? Is that his last
No, Harder They Fall, I think, is his last movie, so we got a few more years for that. And then, as far as overseas, you've got Peter Panchali from Sajiat Ray, Rafifi from Jules Dassin, Lola Montez from Max Ophuls, Diabolique from Clouseau, Ordette from Carl Dreyer, and The Lady Killers from Alexander McKendrick from the UK, and Smiles of a Summer Night from Ingmar Bergman. So,
right.
I mean, just again, you just can't. And I'm not even touching on the majority. In each of these years, even though I'm rattling off a lot of movies, it still doesn't even touch the the number of films that are worth watching from this period. So, including Bride of the Monster from Ed Wood. So
I wish you would stop talking about my mom's marriage to my dad like that. I really would stop that.
I mean, you talk about people often think of Kubrick as being peerless, but I think you mentioned this earlier. More than anyone, Kubrick was influenced by Ophuls. I have some vague remembrance, because I included it in the narration of episode 1, that he might have been on the set of Lola Montez. I don't know though. But that movie in particular, the camera work in that one, was particularly influential to him. I mean, that you could trace Kubrick's influence back to that more than anyone, I think.
Definitely Max Ophuls.
People want to think that he's a deity and beyond influence, but
definitely not.
They want to have it be like he came out of the womb with a camera and a vision.
Yeah. But you can definitely see. You can watch any Max Ophuls movies. Ronde is a perfect example, or Madame D, and you can totally see the influence. It's right there.
1956 films. This was the 29th annual ceremony. Jerry Lewis hosted in L.A. It's an L.A., New York thing again. Best Motion Picture that year went to Around the World in 80 Days. It was up against Friendly Persuasion, Giant, The King and I, and The Ten Commandments. Around the World in 80 Days, it won screenplay, adapted screenplay. I don't think, and score.
It won a lot of things. Yeah.
Okay.
It won a lot of the technical awards
It won 5 awards. It was the most awarded film that night. The most nominations, though, were for Giant.
Well, I'm going to sit this one out because I like Giant. I just love Giant.
I love it. I love it.
Do you love it too, Dean? I mean, do you
oh, my God, yeah. It's great.
Okay, I mean, I really love this film because it's one of these films, I guess, in my family that whenever it was on when we were growing up, we'd, like, stop everything and watch kind of thing.
Me too.
And I mean, there's a lot of other good movies that came out this year. I like The King and I. I like The King and I guess, mainly because I was able to see it. I saw it on stage with Yul Brynner before he died, so I have sort of, a special, connection to that thing. But Giant to me is just like it informs so much about life for me. I love Giant. I mean, I know it's
great. And
I know people hate it today, but I love Giant. I really love that movie. And
George Stevens doesn't get today. George Stevens doesn't get the kind of respect that he got, like even as recently as like the 80s. You remember his son, George Stevens Jr., of course, who used to run the AFI and is, I think, still alive and producing movies.
No, I think I read a book that he wrote. He's written I read finally last year, where they interview all the great directors, for those AFI sessions. And I read that last year, but no, this movie to me is just mind-blowingly great.
It is great, and I mean it's got, I think, James Dean's best performance in it. He was nominated for Best Actor, his second posthumous nomination this year, and so was Rock Hudson was nominated as well.
It's Rock's best performance, I think, of his whole life, and I think
that and seconds. I would say seconds too, but
seconds is good too. You're right.
Giant is just a superb movie. It does lose a little bit of something in its final third, though. When James Dean kind of disappears from the movie, it loses.
That too. There's an argument to be made. The movie loses its pulse when he leaves the movie. I mean, there's a strong argument to be made, I think.
Yeah, I think it's better in the first half than it is in the second. Yeah. But it's still a beautiful movie. It's got a great score. It's beautiful to look at. Elizabeth Taylor, I would have given her Best Actress. I mean, it's not a great year for actresses, but in fact, it's kind of not a great year in general. I mean, of course, the most famous movie, at least for movie lovers, is The Searchers from John Ford, of course, which I would have.
That's not even on here.
Yeah, that's nowhere found on the major.
Yeah, it doesn't get nominated for almost anything. I think it might have gotten a sound nomination or something. But and again, it wasn't a big hit when it came out, or at least it was kind of a it was box office wise it did okay, but like critically it was kind of the same old stuff. Also this year, just if I named the other 4 real masterpieces, 4 or 5 real masterpieces from this year, you're going to go, oh. But you've got Bigger Than Life from Nicholas Ray, which I would have given James Mason Best Actor.
Right.
You've got The Killing from Stanley Kubrick, which I would have given that screenplay and editing. And then The Wrong Man from Alfred Hitchcock, probably his, still I think his most underrated movie. And a wonderful movie from France from Robert Bresson called A Man Escaped, which is one of the great prison movies of all time. So, and plus from overseas you've got Paragito from Sajiat Ray, the sequel to Pedro Panchali, and Bob LaFleur from Melville. So
that's a tough choice. I mean, now there when you add that film, but if you look, best foreign language film that year was La Strada. Do we add that in that year?
I mean, you can add that in there, that's really the year before.
Right.
So,
Okay.
but and then I mean, you've got tons of you got Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Bogart's last movie, The Harder They Fall.
You've got Baby Doll that year too.
Yeah, Baby Doll.
Baby Doll.
Why was I under the impression that Eli Wallach won something for that movie, but he didn't?
No, he wasn't even nominated.
I think
in
he
fact,
won like his money from his bookie. I think he won that year.
In fact, he has never been nominated for an Oscar. He won a special Oscar, of course, a few years ago, but he had never been nominated. Nope.
God damn it.
So yeah, I mean it's again, and also it's a really great year for science fiction with Body Snatchers, Forbidden Planet, Earth versus the Flying Saucers. And then also Roger Corman arriving with It Conquered the World. So
right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. So, but not a great year for movies. Like kind of one of the hiccups.
Okay. Well, my vote would definitely be for Bigger Than Life and The Killing. But
yeah,
it is interesting that, like you said, how sci-fi flourished at that time. Because I mean that was so in the air. I mean all those.
Yeah, I mean pardon the pun, but yeah, the space race and also the nuclear worries. So nuclear bomb worries. So all of that contributed.
The following year, 30th Annual Academy Awards, honoring the films of 1957. Here are the hosts that year. It was only in L.A. at the Pantages, but they had enough hosts. Okay, here we go. Here are the hosts. Bob Hope, Rosalind Russell, David Niven, James Stewart, Jack Lemmon, and Donald Duck all hosted that year.
Wow.
That's amazing how they got that last one.
I hope it was Donald Duck that announced Best Picture Bridge on the River Kwai. Because that title won. It was up against Sayonara, Peyton Place, Witness for the Prosecution, and the wonderful 12 Angry Men.
Which is easily the best out of the bunch.
I can't have it. I love The Bridge on the River Kwai, but there is a movie that comes out that year that I like, I think, almost as much, and that's Heaven Knows Mr. Allison.
That's a great movie.
I love that movie. I love both of those movies, but I think of what's nominated. I love Witness for the Prosecution. I love 12 Angry Men, but to me, Bridge on the River Kwai is a special film. But if Heaven Knows Mr. Allison was in that category, I might be, I'd lean towards that.
Yeah, that's great.
I answer me this because Charles Laughton was nominated for Best Actor for Witness for the Prosecution. Did he give a reason why he never directed again?
I think it's out there. I think he did. I can't quote it, but I think so. I don't know what the reason is.
One brilliantly directed movie, and then he just that's it.
He started in on the second one. He did start in on the second one and kind of abandoned it, but or
that
did.
Movie, he was. It's really funny. We loved that movie, but at the time it was reviled. I mean, it was not. What was it at the time that people did not respond to that movie?
I don't know, but it was just too weird. It was just too stylized. But back to 57. I mean, 12 Angry Men for me is easily the one that I think people go back to out of the five even more than Bridge on the River Kwai, which still remains loved, and I like it too. But I still think that 12 Angry Men is the best out of that bunch. But my favorite movie of the year is again Stanley Kubrick, Paths of Glory. It would be one of three best pictures that I would have given Stanley Kubrick and
right.
First.
No, that's a good. I can't argue with that. I can't.
Yeah, I mean it's great. It's a great year too. I mean, it's just a ridiculous avalanche of foreign product with Wild Strawberries and Seventh Seal from Ingmar Bergman. Imagine those two movies in a year. And then Sweet Smell of Success from the UK from Alexander McKendrick. It's really a U.S. movie, but it's a British director.
Right.
Nights of Cabiria from Fellini.
I was just going to ask you, that's just such a magnificent movie.
Yeah, and I mean, I would have chosen Julieta Messina for Best Actress. Throne of Blood from Kurosawa. The Cranes Are Flying from USSR. Canal from
talk to you about.
Yeah, exactly. Canal from Andre Rida, and Night of the Demon from Jacques Tourneur. He reappears this year, and but I mean the U.S. product is almost as good with things like Witness for the Prosecution and Funny Face from Stanley Donen, the best musical of the year.
Right.
Tall T from Bud Bedecker, one of the great westerns with Randolph Scott, and another Anthony Mann with 10 Star, this time with Henry Fonda, and even things like Incredible Shrinking Man or Will Success Spoil Rock Hunter or 3:10 to Yuma.
Well, both of those. I mean, those last you mentioned are very good.
Yeah, I mean, it's you start getting down into the details, and you things like 40 Guns and The Strange One with Ben Gazzara and Gunfight at the OK Corral and Fear Strikes Out, Robert Mulligan, and Curse of Frankenstein from the UK, the first one with Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing. So I mean, it just goes on and on and on. This is a really, really remarkable year.
Interesting statistics. Peyton Place had 9 nominations, didn't win anything.
And 5 acting nominations too.
that record would not be broken until The Turning Point in 1977, and then again with The Color Purple.
Yeah.
And then also one movie that got no other nominations except one. It only got one nomination, and it won in that category. Was The Three Faces of Eve. Julie Woodward.
Yeah, she won Best Actress. So yeah, I mean it's a great movie, and I mean it's a great year, and that is a good movie. I like that movie a lot.
Okay, following year, 31st Annual Academy Awards, celebrating the films of 1958. Jerry Lewis, Mort Saul, Tony Randall, Bob Hope, David Niven, Laurence Olivier, all hosted from the Pantages.
Wow. Mort Saul.
Yeah.
Wow.
Best motion picture that year went to Gigi. Gigi.
Gigi.
And it was up against Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, Anti-Mame, Separate Tables, and The Defiant Ones.
This is a rare year where I really
don't like any of
them. Don't respond to almost any of those. I mean, I like.
I'm with you, Dean. I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
Out of all of them, I think Anti-Mame is the only one that I find much enjoyment from. Defiant Ones is okay, but I feel like it's a little dated.
It's a good movie. You're right, though. You're right. You're absolutely right.
But the two performances carry it, and I mean, but let's face it. I mean, in a year, I mean, there's 2 movies that didn't get any nominations. Well, I think one got a couple.
Let me guess the 2 movies that you would put above any of these.
Yes.
I would think Vertigo would be one.
Yes, which got 2 nominations.
Yeah. and would Touch of Evil be another one?
Touch of Evil would be the one that I would choose as the best.
Yeah.
It's the best of that year.
You like Some Came Running as well.
I love it. I love that movie. It's something that I just recently discovered, and I do adore that movie. I feel like this is not the greatest year, but with Touch of Evil and Vertigo and also things like Ashes and Diamonds from Vida and My Uncle from Tati and Hidden
and the
Forge.
Horse's Mouth. The Horse's Mouth.
Horse's Mouth is good with Alec Guinness.
Don't forget Big Deal on Madonna Street, because I made a big deal about that movie with Robert Davi when we interviewed many years ago. So
yeah,
I do like that movie a lot. I love that movie. So
and the Hidden Fortress.
Isn't it funny how Vertigo? I mean, everybody knows that it wasn't appreciated at the time of its release, but that it's become appreciated as the greatest movie of all time today.
Yeah.
It seems it's wild, and I mean, it seems what really boggles my mind is that how could that movie have not gotten a cinematography, a score nomination? It didn't get a nomination for Herman's score. Didn't get a nomination for Stewart, not for Novak, not for the screenplay, not for anything. It got 2 nominations, one for art direction and one for sound, I think, and that's it. So it's mind-boggling. But Touch of Evil, it's just so clearly.
Oh yeah, no argument there. No argument there.
I just think that, as much as I love Vertigo and I think it's great and I adore it, but Touch of Evil to me is just absolute mastery of cinema, and Orson Welles' final, sort of his final gasp, not really, but it was sort of, his final huge, overwhelming masterpiece. And the camera work and the score, Henry Mancini's score, and Russell Metty's cinematography, and it's just
beat Touch of Evil. Now, you don't like necessarily Cat on a Hot Tin Roof?
I think it's fine. I think it's fine.
No, it's not a bad version. I like that version.
The one major criticism I have is, of course, that they scrubbed the homosexual element out of it, which
they really
kind of makes it which kind of makes it central issue, like kind of weird, like what, like like it's central conflict, like it's just it's weird.
You can't understand. You can't possibly understand what reason he would have not to want to sleep with Elizabeth Taylor,
right?
Without that subplot. This is Elizabeth Taylor at her most gorgeous. They're both gorgeous in that movie. I watched that movie just to see how gorgeous the two of them are.
Yeah. And I still think that what's his name, Burl Ives is wonderful as Big Daddy, but
even the name Big Daddy. That's the gay subplot, that subtext that they say is in Nightmare on Elm Street too.
It's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. 32nd Annual Academy Awards, honoring the films of 1959. Bob Hope was the sole host. They probably got enough of their Mort Saw the year previous, and they decided just to do it singular with this one. Best Motion Picture that year, it was a posthumous award for producer Sam Zimbalist for the film Ben-Hur. That won. It was against Anatomy of a Murder, Room at the Top, The Diary of Anne Frank, The Nun's Story. Nominated in directing but not motion picture was Some Like It Hot. That was the one. An Anatomy of a Murder was not nominated for director, so that was the one difference between those two categories.
And I would argue that Some Like It Hot deserved to be in the Best Picture running.
I would argue that too, Dean.
It's a sexual climax.
I love Anatomy of a Murder. Probably out of the nominees, I would pick Anatomy of a Murder over, although I adore another George Stevens movie, Diary of Anne Frank, I think is a wonderful movie. Again, another year where there's a there's at least 3 or 4 masterpieces at the top that really should have been in there. And my favorite movie of the year is The 400 Blows, which actually did come out that year and was nominated for screenplay that year. So this is the time period now where things are changing and art house cinemas are kind of exploding in the history in the U.S. So things like that that actually got I think probably opened at Cannes that year and immediately got distribution here. So. But 400 Blows would easily be my favorite movie of the year, but it's really painful to say that because there's Some Like It Hot, but then there's also North by Northwest and Rio Bravo from Howard Hawks and Day of the Outlaw and Cassavetes' first movie, Shadows, Imitation of Life from Douglas Sirk, and a really great war movie from Louis Milestone, a Korean war movie called Pork Chop Hill, which I would
it's a great movie.
Consider to be one of, and also Plan 9 from Outer Space. So you know,
I like Ben-Hur, but I would have given it Some Like It Hot. I might have actually, over Some Like It Hot, I might have given it to The Last Angry Man.
That's an interesting choice.
No, but man, Paul Meany. I actually think Paul Meany is better in that than he is in Scarface. I think The Last Angry Man is a great, great, great movie. I've lived The Last Angry Man for 45 years. I'm talking about my dad. I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about my dad. So I've lived that. I've lived that. I really think that as much as I do like Ben-Hur, I don't begrudge it. But if I had to pick, I would pick Some Like It Hot for that year. No doubt about it. One of the greatest movies ever made. Just classic movie. But for Best Actor that year, I would have given it to Paul Meany. Hands down.
They just did. Did you see where Jerry Lewis did an onstage Q&A with Martin Scorsese last week?
I know that they happened, but
yeah, and one of the things that came out of that was Jerry Lewis said no to Billy Wilder for Some Like It Hot, and he was like, "No, I don't want to dress in drag for the entire movie. I'm not going to do that." And so he said no, and he said that every time he saw Billy Wilder after that. Billy Wilder said something to the effect of, "If I ever write a book, I'm going to call it Jerry Lewis is a Schmuck."
It would have been quite a different movie.
We might not be talking about it today.
It's quite possible it wouldn't have worked.
We all know that if Jerry Lewis were in that movie, there's no way that Marilyn Monroe could have been funny. He would have been like, "Why are you putting a woman in a comedy? What is she doing in here?"
And she would have been even more tortured than she already was with Tony Curtis, who hated each other, but or at least Curtis hated her. I don't know how she felt about him, but that movie also stands as proof that even if you have a contentious set, which Marilyn Monroe made the set contentious because she was continually late and she didn't know her lines and she was, sometimes a little bombed. Of course, famously, Tony Curtis said kissing her was like kissing Hitler. So it was like, but
that's a very interesting analogy.
It's really a proof that a good movie can come out of a contentious set.
Of course.
A great movie, even. So sometimes it doesn't work out that way. But I love 59 and just for those top films, but you had Black Orpheus and he had Sleeping Beauty and from Disney and The Mouse That Roared and Odds Against Tomorrow and two great.
Oh God, both of those are really good.
Two great horror movies, The House on Haunted Hill and The Tingler. Ride Lonesome, another great Randolph Scott Western. So, I mean, it's another terrific year, and I like most of the Best Picture nominees too. So.
Marilyn Monroe did win the Golden Globe that year for Best Actress, Musical or Comedy.
Yeah,
and Some Like It Hot won Best Comedy. Ben-Hur won Best Drama.
I think that was her closest shot at getting an Oscar nomination, which she never got one. But I think that was her closest shot, and she should have won it. I think. I mean, I love Audrey Hepburn in The Nun Story, and also have very much fondness for Lee Remick in Anatomy of a Murder. But Marilyn Monroe is superb, and
Marilyn Monroe.
Something Like It Hot.
She's Marilyn.